Thank you to Group 10 and thank you to everyone for that amazing and insightful sharing during the breakout session. Thank you to each and every one of you for having no holds barred sharing session. Now we are now live on Facebook, Jamiyah Singapore's Facebook. So I would like to welcome all of you Facebook viewers to today's Women in Conversation organized by Jamiyah's Women Department. So we're now going to move on to segment 2, which is the forum. And for this segment, I would like to hand over this session to our moderator, Ms. Rita Zahara. Good morning, Ms. Rita.
Morning, Miss Melissa and everyone.
Looking gorgeous as always. Okay, all yours now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Melissa, for leading the sharing session. May I first thank everyone for taking time to join us on our very first virtual Women in Conversation event. My name is Rita Zahara, and I will be the moderator for the second segment of our Women in Conversation today, which is the forum on being mothers, the challenges, the way forward. It is rather unfortunate that we are unable to hold a physical event this year due to the COVID restrictions, but we are very happy that we are joined today with all of you who have been very supportive, vocal and candid in sharing all the challenges of being mothers and what some solutions can be moving forward. I'd like to first welcome our guest of honor, Ms. Sim Ann, Senior Minister of State, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Development. Welcome, Ms. Sim Ann, to Women in Conversation, organized by Jamiyah Singapore's Women Department in conjunction with the launch of the signature event 28th Exemplary Mother Award. Ms. Sim Ann?
Thank you very much, Rita. It's great to see you too. And thank you to our organizers for the invitation. Dr. Muhammad Hasbi Abu Bakar, President of Jamiyah Singapore. Ms. Claire Chiang, Chairperson, Panel of Judges for the Exemplary Mother Award. Madam Aisha Osman, Chairperson for Jamiyah Singapore's Women and Family Department. Forum panelists, participants of this virtual Women in Conversation, and our Facebook viewers, my heartiest congratulations to Jamiyah Singapore's Women and Family Department for organizing this Women in Conversation event today, which includes a discussion, a forum, and the launch of Jamiyah Singapore's 28th Exemplary Mother Award. Thank you to Dr. Hasbi, President of Jamiyah Singapore, for inviting me to officiate at this event. It is timely that the Ministry of Social and Family Development has dedicated 2021 as the year of celebrating SG women. One group of women that we should not forget celebrating and appreciating would be mothers. More so in these trying times when our women face greater pressures, that's our women in general and our mothers in particular, and also when our families depend on them more. It is therefore heartening to note that Jamiyah's Women and Family Department's Women in Conversation initiative is focusing on mothers with the theme of being mothers, the challenges, the way forward. Earlier in today's program, there was a discussion on this theme by participants from various organizations, including government agencies, social service agencies, interfaith organizations, women's groups, and the private sector. And I feel fortunate that I was also able to catch some of the sharing that went on just now. The aim was to identify the issues confronting mothers, discuss the need to recognize and appreciate motherhood, and surface suggestions on how to mitigate, if not resolve these challenges. I trust that the participants had a fruitful and engaging time addressing these perennial issues faced by women, especially mothers, at home, in their workplaces, and also in volunteer organizations. It is time for us to now hear from our distinguished panelists. Thank you for making time to share your experiences with us and provide insights to women, especially mothers. And lest we forget, also a big thank you to the many men who are supporting women and championing our cause. Last but not least, I am also excited to launch Jamiyah Singapore's 28th Exemplary Mother Award and the 3rd Exemplary Young Mother Award nominations later. It is time again for us to honor, recognize, and affirm all mothers for the countless sacrifices they have made and the values they have conferred and inculcated in all of us. To everyone out there, I urge you to send in your nominations, be it your own mother, your wife, your friend, or anyone you think who deserves this award for contributing significantly to family and community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tim Ann, for the very inspiring speech, and thank you again for making time with us today. In this second segment of our Women in Conversation event today, we will hear from three panelists, women and men who are all very established in their respective fields. Our three panelists will be sharing on the challenges facing mothers, the recognition of motherhood and women's rights in Singapore, some tips for mothers to remain relevant in a fast-changing Singapore. Let me introduce the panelists to you. We have with us today Dr. Noor Farhan, geriatrician from Raffles Medical Center and a finalist for Jamiyah's Exemplary Young Mother Award for 2018. Hi, Dr. Noor Farhan. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, Rita. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invitation.
Next, we have Ms. Yen Yeo, president of WWEM. She will be sharing with us some very interesting, insightful information as well. Hi,
Good morning,
Ms. Yen.
Rita. Hi, thanks, Jamiyah, for inviting me.
And finally, we have Mr. Prantik Mazumdar, Managing Director, CRM Group at Dentsu Singapore. Thank you, Mr. Prantik, for being with us as well, sharing the men's perspective.
Thanks, Rita, for having me, and a big thank you to Jamiyah for kind of hosting this wonderful event and looking forward to the session. Thank you.
Everyone's making time on a Saturday morning. That's wonderful. Okay, without further ado, let us start with the sharing of Dr. Noor Farhan, a specialist in managing internal medicine in adults, acute and chronic general medical issues in the elderly. Her interest includes falls and frailty, incontinence, depression, delirium, and dementia in the elderly. Dr. Noor Farhan, based on the questions that were posed earlier, what would be your thoughts from your perspective as a doctor and a mother? Dr. Noor Farhan.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see my slides. So I like to say this, that mothering is my career and all other careers support that. I'm a doctor and I work full-time in private practice. So that means that I work irregular hours. At times I'm up at night breastfeeding and I'll have to head to the hospital. So it is quite challenging, and but my children are my joy. So I have 4 children and I'm juggling between the needs of a baby. My smallest is 11 months old and my oldest is Hannah, she's 11. So she's going on 12, it's sort of the preteen years. And I've got 2 boys in between, aged 5 and 9. So I can talk about dementia all day, every day, because it's my specialty. But talking about motherhood, you know, talking about issues that concern women, that's something entirely new to me. I attended a conference recently and they talked about gender differences in burnout between male doctors and female doctors. So I thought that was really interesting. What is burnout? I'm sure you've felt it, right? That you've maybe gone to work and the work day feels so long, like you don't know how to start, or you've come back home and you feel like you have caregiver burnout, you know, you can't look after elderly mom or dad, or maybe just looking after children, you've had enough. So doctors face burnout as well, and the prevalence is high. It's up to even 90 to 95% of doctors feel burnout sometime in their life. So what are challenges facing my role as mother and doctor? Those are the 2 roles that I have. The first thing is that being a doctor, a specialist, there were not many role models. When I looked at my boss at that time, she was in her mid-40s. She had babies in her 40s, and her children were as old as mine. So I took a long time to get through specialist training. If you are good and you know you pass all your exams on time and my children are making noise. I told them to be quiet, but I'm sorry. Okay, so if you are really quick, you finish training in 5 years, but I took 9 years because I sat for exams. At times I was not successful. It took me a long time. So women, they choose to finish their training and then give birth. And at times they are in their 40s. A lot of my colleagues, they have children in their 40s and end up having to go through IVF, for example, because of fertility issues. So these are the challenges that women in medicine face. The other challenge is a lot of times, because we have no time for social life, we marry other doctors, right? So or we marry other healthcare workers. And sometimes what happens is that we slow down our training, or we take part-time work to look after the children so that the fathers can pursue their careers. So the other challenge is that women, we have a finite number of years of childbearing. So I find that sometimes the men aren't ready to have children, but then, you know, your clock is ticking. So it's like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, like I really need to have the baby now. We know that there's disparity in terms of remuneration. Women doctors and male doctors, there's a large gap. And partly because a lot of women choose roles like family practice, for example, which is not as lucrative. The number of promotions to leadership positions, the number of women. For example, I attended a conference recently and my classmate was heading the conference. So it was a conference involving, it was a multinational conference, and he was speaking as head of his field. So in that way, like, women doctors are greatly underrepresented. So these are the differences. So I've been asked to talk about recognition of motherhood. How do we recognize mothers? I think that we need to recognize fathers as well. When people find out I have 4 children, everyone says like, wow, super mom. But then my husband pointed out something recently. He's a pharmacist. So he said, you know, I work very long hours. He works full time. He's in a training position, but nobody ever says, wow, super dad. I mean, we hardly hear this term. It's Father's Day. So we should, you know, recognize our fathers too, because when you support the man, when you support fatherhood, you support the entire family, and that's really good for society. So I really enjoyed this book by Melinda Gates. It's called The Moment of Lift. So she advocates for lifting up society, means lifting up the men as well to support the woman. So that's, I feel, is an important point, because women and men are not the same. If you feel that women and men are the same, then you've never been mother or father to a boy and girl. You know, you realize that, wow, they are really different. So the way forward, there have been so many points raised by all the different groups, and I think you've covered many things. So it includes policy, which is enlightened leadership, organizational change, and of course, individual action. So people ask me all the time, like, how do you have it all? You know, how do you do it all? So these are like my top tips. Rest is important. I often look after mothers, and these women can be really sick. They end up in hospital, but they say, you know, doctor, I just have to go home. Like, I have a special needs child, or my mother is sick. She can't look after my children. And I say, you are sick. You know, you are really sick. Like, you cannot come out of hospital because you need to get well. So I find that mothers, I mean, we are nurturers. We always give up ourselves, but we don't invest in our physical health. At times, you know, it's so stressful. I had a young lady come to my clinic and said, you know, I don't enjoy motherhood at all. Motherhood is stressful. Like, my sister-in-law, my sisters, they are coping so well. Like, something is wrong with me. So I told her, like, if you think being a mother is easy, then that's like an unrealistic expectation. I was talking to my friend who's a psychiatrist, and I told her, oh, I'm really feeling bogged down by work. I'm really stressed. And she said, well, you know, you're a mother. Like, that was enough. You know, you're a mother, you're entitled to feel like stressed, tired, overstretched. So what's important is really to ask for help. I find that often women, we want to do it all, but just asking our spouse for help, asking family, asking extended family, that would help a lot. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, it was really insightful. I listened to all the sharing before, and I've learned so much. I'm looking forward to listening to what Prantik has to say, as well as Yen, who's the expert. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nur Farhan. In fact, you are very insightful yourself. Being a specialist in your area, I believe you're very passionate in raising health awareness amongst the community. And it's easy to understand why Dr. Nur Farhan was chosen as one of the finalists for the Exemplary Young Mother Award back in 2018. Now it's my honor to invite our next speaker, Ms. Ian Yeo, President of WEM, Women Empowered for Work and Mothering, to give her sharing on recognizing motherhood in the society as well as in many, many other places of work. Please let us welcome Ms. Ian Yeo. WEM is a non-profit organization founded in 2011 to empower mothers for work-life success, dealing with issues faced by women who wish to find a balance between pursuing their career and building a family on a daily basis. There's no better panelist than Ms. Yeo herself to share her take. Ms. Yeo, please.
Thanks, Rita, and good morning or maybe good afternoon to everyone. I'm really glad to be able to be part of this wonderful session. And I have two daughters. They are 30 and 26, so I'm pretty lonely on a weekend, actually. So I'm just going to go very quickly in about 5 to 6 minutes to share with you my journey, the challenges I faced in the last 30 years. In fact, I call it 56 years because every mothering journey with a child is a different one. So I like to use this model that I've developed to share about the slice of life, which are concerning women with dual role. So I started my career in the IT industry, and I call it slice because it's seasons of life in childcare and employment. And I like to take the opportunity to go through the different colors to share with you the challenges I face. When I first had my daughter 30 years ago, I was in a green zone where I got it all. My late mom came every day, 9 to 6, to take care of my kid together with my domestic helper. So I could fully concentrate on my work. It was green light all the way on the career path. And there was a time where I took a break when my daughter was about 3, and I felt that I really like to spend time with them. If those who are mothers know how cute the kids are when they are 2 or 3, and just spending time after work is not enough for me. So I took about a year off, and at that time I was in the white zone where there was nothing else I could add to my resume. My resume was really quite white at the time. And then I went into a slightly different zone when we moved to Hong Kong, and I didn't like the white part about my resume. So when a job came for me to work on flexible work hours, which is about 4 hours a day in a regional job in the mid-1990s. I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. I want to get back to the workplace. So I did that, but there was a time really where I had no time to update photos, and the photos were turning yellow. So it was leftover mothering. Whatever time I had, I gave to work because it was multinational, working around the clock even at that time. And during that time, we don't take iPhone pictures, right? We take photos, we develop them, and we put on our own walls. But my photos were really turning yellow by that time because I didn't have prime time for the kids. I only had whatever that's left over for mothering. So when we came back to Singapore, I sort of was in the red zone because at that time my mom became unwell, and I was really struggling to try to settle my kids who just returned and getting used to Singapore, and also all my other personal issues. And I was in the red zone where everything seems to be a challenge. And that's where, again, I took a break again. And then I went back. It's really interesting. People say, how come you just go in and out? I say, yes, that is a flexi career. I really believe that I have the own talents. I have my experience. I have the contributions I can make to any organization I can join. So I did not have any lack of confidence of going back. But when I went back to work again, I very often fall into the orange zone where I just submitted in time for my proposals, my report, and I just drive to the last car park lot when my daughter is getting an award, and I was probably among the last to enter the school hall to see her receiving the award. So I was always in the just make it zone. So my desire since has always been in the pink zone, which is where I will enjoy work-life success. So I think very quickly, we don't have much time, but I like to just correct a few terms that we are often confused with. The term work-life balance has a bad name because someone said you can't have 50-50. And it is true, very often you can have 50% of your time and effort on work and the other 50% on non-work matters. What I'd like to show you on this picture is that when we talk about work-life, we're talking about constantly balancing. Because if we don't balance, the things that are on that balance will all fall to pieces. You see from this picture, when the load on one side demands more attention, we can actually move the focus and move the fulcrum. So if work demands, it's a peak season, you may have less time for your family. But when it's a lull period for your work, maybe you probably have more time for your family and you move to program. So work-life balance is a constant movement. I like to say that in Singapore, please use the term work-life harmony. It's probably the only country that uses this term. Basically, if you have played in a band or an orchestra, you will know that the flute will go dee, 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 and then the trombone will go boom, 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 and the drum will go pum, pum, pum. And then the cymbals suddenly go chang and caught your attention. But when we enjoy work-life harmony, when we know what we want, we really have a beautiful piece of music. Another quick term that I'd like to introduce to you is my favorite term called work-life integration. And Employer Alliance, which is an organization I used to work for, defines work-life integration as being able to exercise control, choice in meeting life challenges. And my chairperson at that point is none other than Ms. Claire Chiang. And we try to spread this message to companies that work-life integration is also about managing work responsibilities alongside personal and family needs. So with that, when we look at our life, we always are focused on work because there's the bosses, the team members, the customers shouting for attention. But we must not forget that we have our family to take care of. And last but not least, I'm very glad to hear from the conversations today that we're all very conscious that we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of the rest. So I just want to share with you, my formula of work-life success is know what matters, do what matters, say no to what doesn't matter. I try to say no to K-drama, but sometimes they matter, and achieve what matters. 4 quick tips for the next 10 seconds, which usually take 4 hours to deliver. Every time I come across challenges as a mom, I choose to act out the box. I choose to think that I'm not a POW, not a prisoner of work, but there are ways I can think of ideas to come up. I think today many ideas were shared. And I always remember all the roles I have. I'm not just only a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a trainer, I'm a consultant, I'm a community contributor. And whenever I am almost burnt out, I think of the dreams I want to catch. All right, but last but not least, to develop the capacity and my capability. Every one of us has only 168 hours a week. And it's really how we develop the capacity. You can't increase the hours, how we use the hours, how we develop our capability in our various roles that will help us enjoy work-life success. So I believe that every woman can have a choice. You can have it all through the different seasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ian. I can so relate to your just make it zone a few times as well in being a mom. My daughter is 20, my son is serving NS, so I've had a few moments of those just make it zone as well. Okay, may we all hit some of the advice Ms. Yeo has given us. I believe there's also one quote by Michael Jordan that resonates with me. If you refuse to give up, you will always go further than you expect. So that is a very encouraging speech by Ms. Ian Yeo. Next, we now have Mr. Prantik Mazumdar, Managing Director of CRM Group of Dentsu Singapore. Mr. Prantik, you are both a father and a husband, and your wife is a doctor. How do you support your wife in her career and her role as a mother in these challenging times? Mr. Prantik, please.
Thanks, Rita, and thanks for the wonderful presentations we had earlier today. I just have a few slides, and maybe I could articulate, and answer the question that you posed to me. So just a second. Hopefully, is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I think to your question, it really comes down to these two things: is equitable responsibilities and celebrating small wins. So before I share that, a bit about myself, my wife, and my 4.5-year-old son. So that's us. I've been in Singapore for the last 20 years. Very fortunate to. So I grew up I'm originally from India, grew up in India and Indonesia, and the last 20 years I've spent in Singapore running a digital marketing business before selling it to Dentsu. My wife, she joined me about 7 years ago. She's a practicing doctor in A&E at NUH. Hopefully none of you have to meet her at NUH ever, but if you do, I'm sure you guys are in good hands. And yeah, my son, he was born in Singapore. We are PRs here, and he goes to a preschool. And to me, I think, fundamentally, I think it's important to believe in the institution of family and the role and value of a family as a unit, right? And like many of you said earlier, family, the definition of family is quite fluid, right? For me, of course, my nuclear immediate family is the 3 of us, but of course, both of us have our parents who our aging citizens, they are back in India. It's obviously been quite a tough time. And I think, as Ian said, I mean, we play multiple roles. So as a son, as a father, as a business owner, and it's important to have that holistic perspective. Because I think, to me, what a family is, and I think this quote from J.K. Rowling kind of captures that quite well, is, you got to nurture, if you believe in the institution, you got to nurture that family. You got to take out time for yourself and the family, because, it's a life jacket in the stormy sea of life. And I think if there's anything we've learned in the last year, it's probably that it's that insurance, it's that warm body that you want to kind of, reach out to for conversations, for help, just, in your difficult moments as well as your happy moments. And the three things that have kind of, helped us try to figure out what that work-life harmony or that, balancing act is there are three things that we've kind of jointly believed in. And this evolves, but at this juncture, these are three things that I would like to share from our personal experience. One is, I've seen a lot of friends, a lot of families where even in, educated modern societies like Singapore as well, even in India, Indonesia, where in a lot of moms, and again, if it's a choice, it's a conscious choice, that's absolutely fair. But a lot of families, ensure, figure out that once the mother has a baby, she, for various reasons, chooses not to go back or delay. And that's fine. If it's a conscious choice, that's absolutely fine. But, if it's due to certain mindsets that a female or a mother has to be at home to kind of, give undiluted attention. I think one thing that I would like to call upon is a very interesting study that I came across from the Harvard Business Review, that, apart from various other reasons, there's good economic and emotional reasons for moms to work as well. Apart from, bringing in, share help, bringing in economic value to the family. Research shows that in various societies, kids of working moms grow into happy adults, right? Because they see their moms play multiple roles. They learn from the moms who kind of try and juggle. So there's a lot of, and I would urge all of you to kind of look at that piece of research. It's publicly available on Harvard Business Review. So I think this is something that both my wife and I believe that, it's obviously going to be challenging for my wife. Not only is she a practicing doctor, but she doesn't have fixed hours. So today is a weekend, but in a doctor's life, as Dr. Noor would know, there isn't probably a concept of a normal weekend, right? So she has 4 days off. And as long as we figure out, as long as we know her schedule, I try, or even both of us, we try and work around her schedule, because there is no fixed schedule in a doctor's life. But what we have learned is, I think the longer term benefits is plenty. So we try, obviously you can't have it all at the same time. So we obviously sacrifice many things that we would like to do. But I think at the end of the day, we know that, this is important for us as a family, for her career growth. In fact, right now she's doing, in the medical field, she's going through the residency program where she has to study apart from working. So at the end of the month, she has a major exam coming in, which adds extra stress. But again, to be honest, we're quite fortunate that we have support, we have help. So that helps us. I think Dr. Noor mentioned that calling and asking for help is critical. We have relied on...
Mr. Prantik, sorry to interrupt. I think you have some other slides to show us as well. Could you press the next slide and let's see whether we can see your lovely photos and preparation that you have made.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Checking. Are you seeing the orange slide right now? Kids of working moms?
No, I think we are only seeing your first slide.
Ah, I see. Okay, that's strange. Because I can see screen share. Just a moment.
Yeah. Yes, now we are seeing it.
Ah, okay, all right. Yeah,
okay, so wonderful.
So that's, if you haven't, that's my family.
So lovely.
My wife, who's a doctor and at NUH A&E, and she's giving her exams right now, and my son's 4.5-year-old. So the three things that I was talking about, one is, of course, I think I would urge, whether you're a husband or a wife or anyone in the family, that I think it's important, especially in modern societies like Singapore, that if the mother so wants, if it's a choice, it's important for her to find some sort of, it doesn't have to be, it could be in NGOs, or in the corporate world, it could be in teaching, whatever ultimately gives her joy, happiness, and if that helps economically, right? Because it really, really has a positive impact on the family and children. So that's point number one to bear in mind. The other thing that I was talking about is, I think there's a difference in equality and equity. And I think this is important to bear in mind, especially, as a husband-wife, is how do you kind of distribute responsibility? One simple, of course, everyone wants fairness and equality. And, you could say, what, I have 10 tasks a day, we're going to divide it equally. But as Dr. Noor rightfully said, men and women are different. Two individuals are different. We have different skills, different risk appetite, different ways of looking at problems. So the way what's worked for us is we've decided what is it that I, as an individual, would contribute to the family. So, for example, and it doesn't have to be stereotypical that men have to do the physical labor, so to speak. So, for example, in my household, anything that goes wrong with the household, with electricity, with plumbing, my wife is way better suited than I am. So I think she enjoys it. That's a good way for her to kind of get a good breather as well. So she enjoys doing that. I enjoy taking care of the finances. I enjoy taking care of general purchases, the home delivery, all of that. So I think what's important is you don't have to really necessarily split every task into half, that you do half, I do half. I think you could have equity overall at the big picture level and say, you know what, here are 3 areas that you can take care of. Here are 3 areas that I'll take care of. And I think that creates a good harmony. And I think that also gives people the choice to kind of, decide what they're good at, and you can keep shifting, right? Based on your skill set, based on what you're good at, based on what you enjoy. So I think that's something that's important. On the first point, one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is, this is also important. All of us also play a role in the corporate environment. You could be a business leader, you could be a business owner. So when I run my business, I think it's important that I bring this message to my colleagues is, what is it that we can do to help moms and dads, when they're coming back from paternity and maternity? I think Singapore, obviously, it's a very busy society, very demanding. So I think even in the workplace, we've got to figure out, can we give a bit more leave beyond what the current policies are, right? Can we make it easier for the moms or the dads to come back to work, right? Can we ease them into the workforce once again? Can we have some sort of flexible hybrid work? So I think when I talk about this point, it's not only as a father or a husband, but also as a corporate person, as a business owner. I think we got to ensure that we, as we wear multiple hats, we take care of different perspectives. Second point was on equity versus equality. You don't have to really split everything into half, but you can figure out based on your skill sets, perspectives, and interest. And the last thing, it's something very simple, but I think we tend to kind of overlook is, I think, there were a lot of groups which were sharing this, that we got to appreciate, we got to celebrate small wins. And I think this is important. And I think someone rightly said that this appreciation needs to come from the family, from the parents, from the in-laws. And I think this matters a lot. So even if it's a small achievement that your wife has had at the workplace, like last night, my wife came and told me that there was a very nice little appreciation, a positive feedback that they got from a parent. And we had a mini little celebration, because I think it's these little small celebrations that kind of, help you tackle the next day. So every time someone feels overwhelmed, I think, we got to start small and celebrate small wins in a meaningful way. And I think that's what matters. So yeah, those are 3 points that have helped my wife, Dr. Dipti, and myself, is celebrate small wins, figure out an equitable distribution to whatever, way you can contribute to the family. And lastly, ensure that, there is good room for the mom and the woman in a professional workspace if she chooses to work there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prantik, for your sharing. We have about 3 or 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to ask one question to all the panelists, and you can have about a minute each. What else can be done by maybe the government and the community to help women embrace motherhood? That's 1. And 2 is, how can we support the men in their roles as husbands and fathers in doing what we do? 1 minute each, perhaps, from starting with Doctor. Can you hear me? Dr. Nur Farhan, are you there?
Sorry, I didn't unmute. I didn't unmute. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I participated in a focus group discussion about how to support healthcare workers, female healthcare workers at work better. And facilities do matter. Things like access to a breastfeeding room, or even access to a refrigerator for breast milk. So structural issues, because it is a challenge to find a place in a hospital that's private enough. Of course, other issues are more complicated, like the availability of childcare near the workplace. There are kindergartens in hospitals, but they are really overbooked. As you can imagine, our staff, they're all female. So we have nurses, we have pharmacists, we have health aides, they're all women. And it's perfect. You drop your kid off in childcare, you see them at lunch, but the number of places are so limited. And childcare is expensive. I mean, I remember as a young doctor with young children, it does add up, you know, it really does. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. How about Ms. Yen Yeo? Your thoughts on this?
Right. So I have to say that having worked in the area of work-life harmony and flexible work arrangement for over a decade, I think Singapore is really so blessed that we have so many schemes provided by the government as well as employers. What we couldn't achieve in flexible work arrangement in the last 10 years, we achieved it all in 1 year last year. So please write on the, all these results that we're seeing. There are issues that need to be ironed out, but please don't waste the crisis. So I think, to me, frankly, please go look at what the government has already provided, whether it's in subsidies and whether it's in childcare center, and tap on them. But I want to tell every mom here, please be personally responsible for your work-life harmony, because you are the most important person and you are going to be the one that make the change, not anyone else. As for the fathers, please offer I know that you're not perfectly great at changing diapers or anything, you need more practice. So please offer your wife to be the partner in taking care of the kids, and please take just benefit from the paternity leave, any kind of childcare leave, family leave. Please use them. The statistics doesn't show that many fathers are taking them. So the first thing you can do is take all the leave that you're entitled to as a father.
Very good thoughts. I wish I have as many leave as well, but I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't have any rest or leave. Mr. Prantik, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think, to Dr. Yen's point, I think what matters is, especially the senior leadership in organizations, we need to walk the talk. So, whether taking paternity leave or even having open conversations about what men can, need to, or even share success stories of probably the few men who are doing a good job with diapers or helping in the kitchen or whatever else. I think this topic needs to be spoken about and discussed more, and more men need to walk the talk, especially prominent, well-known senior folks, so that others can emulate.
Thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of a Forum for Our Women in Conversation event today. I thank all our experienced and inspirational panelists for their insightful sharing today. And I'm so sure that all of you have learned a lot from the short sharing as well. I invite all our audiences on this virtual event to stay on to catch the launch of our 28th Exemplary Mothers Award. May I now hand over the session back to our host, Ms. Melissa. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Rita Zahara, and of course, thank you to all our three experienced and candid panelists for sharing your insights on this topic. Right, we shall now proceed to the third and final segment of today's Women in Conversation, that is the launch of Jamiyah's Exemplary Mother Award 2021. But first, let us now watch a video put up together by Jamiyah Singapore's studio department to understand what Exemplary Mother Award is all about.
Jamiyah Singapore presents to you the 28th Exemplary Mother Award. The prestigious Exemplary Mother Award recognizes and celebrates the sacrifices, determination, and resilience of mothers in overcoming life's many challenges, such as financial hardship, illness, or loss of a spouse. It honors mothers from all walks of life and across all races and religions who have made an impact in the lives of their family members and the community. The first Exemplary Mother Award was presented back in 1993 when the late President Wee Kim Wee presented his presidential shield to Jamiyah to honor exceptional mothers. In 2018, during the 26th Exemplary Mother Award, Jamiyah introduced a new category, the Exemplary Young Mother Award, to showcase the entrepreneurial spirit, hard work, and determination of young mothers, as well as their contributions to society. This year, we will be celebrating the 28th year of the award. The past winners and finalists of the Exemplary Mother Award and Exemplary Young Mother Award are all exceptional mothers, each with an iron will and a steely resolve in accepting and adapting to hurdles that came their way, and finding a way out of the obstacles they face, all this to care for and provide for themselves and their loved ones.
Amazing. This is already the 28th year for Exemplary Mother Award and the 3rd year for Exemplary Young Mother Award. I am really looking forward to all the nominees for this year, as I'm very sure there are so many mothers out there who are so deserving to be in Singapore's Roll of Honour for mothers with indomitable spirit. Now let us move on for the most exciting moment. For this, I am pleased to welcome all our special guests for the launch. We have Ms. Sim Ann, Senior Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and National Development. Good morning, ma'am. Right, we also have Ms. Claire Chiang, our mentor and chairperson for the panel of judges for Exemplary Mother Award. Good to have you with us, ma'am. We also have Dr. H.M. Salim, Senior Vice President 1 of Jamiyah Singapore. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Salim. And not forgetting, we have Madam Aisa Osman, who is the chairperson for Women Department. Thank you, Madam Aisa, for initiating this event. Now, I would also like to introduce our panel of judges, who I believe has a daunting task of interviewing the nominees, shortlisting them, and finally selecting the winner. Because I also believe that all these nominees have great credentials and stories of their own challenges and resilience. So with us this morning, we have Ms. Joanna Pertila, PBM, patron for Women's Integrated Network of People's Association. Yes, okay. We have Mrs. Laura Huang Cheng, Managing Director of the Memories of the East Private Limited. We have Mrs. Sarojini Padmanathan, Director for Corporate Services Group, Professional Matters Department of Health Sciences Authority. We also have Dr. Bibi Jan Ayub, BBM, Board of Director for Association of Muslim Professionals. We have Ms. Ginny Fu, President for Singapore Council of Women's Organisation. We have Ms. Lim Ka Yi, Senior Director for CDC Plan and Develop of People's Association. We have Mr. Brian Tan, CEO of Centre for Fathering. Let's have a wave, Mr. Teo, yes. And last but not least, Mr. Suhaimi Saleh, CEO of SSA Group. Now, good morning, everyone. Or I would say good afternoon to all our EMA judges. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the exciting moment. I would like to invite our guest of honor, Ms. Sim Ann, Ms. Claire Chiang, Dr. H.M. Salim, and of course, Madam Aisa Osman. Now, to the count of 3, I will need you to put up your palm to the screen to activate the launch. Now, are we ready? Yes, palms up. Let me see your palms. Right, so everybody, to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
The nominations for the 28th Exemplary Mother Award and the 3rd Exemplary Young Mother Award are now open. Jamiyah Singapore welcomes nominations of women from all walks of life, women who demonstrates high levels of personal, professional and community achievements. If you know any mother whom you think is exemplary in overcoming life's challenges and has made an impact on her family and or the community, sign her up for the award today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 28th Exemplary Mother Award and the 3rd Exemplary Young Mother Award are now officially launched. So the nominations are now open. So if you do have anyone in mind that you think fits the bill, why wait? Scan the QR code here. Yes, scan the QR code here and nominate her. Now I'm going to give you some moments. So just grab your phone, scan the QR code, and get the best person that you think deserve to be this year's winners, right? Alternatively, you can also scan this QR code on Jamiyah Facebook, on Jamiyah Facebook as well as website on www.jamiyah.org.sg. Right, so now we move on. We're going to pause for a while because we're going to have a photo taken with our guest of honor, Ms. Sim Ann, Ms. Claire Chiang, Dr. Hisham Salim and Madam Aisa, as well as all our Exemplary Mother Award judges. Yes, back to everyone now. Okay, so it seems that, yes, we have everyone now. So to the count of 3, just put on a smile. Just bear with us. We're going to have a few clicks, right? 1, 2, 3, smile. And the best smile goes to? Okay, a few clicks more. You need to smile more, Dr. Salim. Oh, okay. You can wave as well. Right, just continue waving, yes. Good. Fantastic. Thank you to everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's Women in Conversation organized by Jamiyah's Women Department. We would like to thank our guest of honor, Ms. Sim Ann, Senior Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and National Development. Thank you to Ms. Claire Chiang, Dr. Hisham Salim, Dato' Dr. Muhammad Hasbi Abu Bakar, our moderator, Ms. Rita Zahara, our 3 panelists, Dr. Noor Farhan, Ms. Yen Yo, and Mr. Prantik, and of course, not to forget all our discussion participants for joining us from 10 a.m. this morning. Thank you so much, everyone. I would also like to thank the organizing committee, Jamiyah's Women Department, for putting up this wonderful and memorable event. We'd also like to thank all of you out there who's joining us from whatever platform you're at and for taking your time to be with us today. I am Marlisa, your MC, signing off. Please stay safe and have a great day ahead. Assalamualaikum and bye.